we're looking for is information about the conspiracy between the Biden administration and, frankly, the deep state under the Trump administration and these outside entities using this specific computer system to censor you. So in terms of government corruption, something that I think is terribly serious and is ongoing is the censorship of American citizens by big tech media in collusion with the Biden administration. And prior to that, it was deep state agencies under the Trump administration. And Judicial Watch has been pushing very hard to investigate this censorship with lawsuits. We've sued over censorship in California against the state there who abused our civil rights by censoring our videos related to election issues in 2020. And Judicial Watch has a number of FOIA lawsuits already pending, and we just filed a new important one against a key agency that you may have never heard of before in the Department of Homeland Security. So the Department of Homeland Security, you may recall, was set up after 9/11 to better manage Homeland Security and protect us from foreign threats. So, of course, what did the deep state do? They immediately weaponized it against American citizens, almost immediately, and specifically conservatives. And in this case, there was an organization that was set up within the Department of Homeland Security, and I think the Trump administration allowed it to take place, which was a mistake. But this is where everyone was all nervous about Russia interference in the 2016 election, which in large measure was immaterial. So they came up with this cybersecurity, what do they call it? The Cybersecurity and Information Security Agency, designed to protect us from foreign intervention in our elections through the internet and such. So what did they almost immediately start doing? Censoring Americans who were concerned about mail-in balloting and other election law changes, and just questioning elections generally. So all First Amendment protected speech. They didn't care much about the so-called Russians. And to the degree they cared about it, they maligned Americans, not necessarily Siza, but others, maligned Americans who suggested there were issues in the 2020 elections by accusing them of being Russian agents. It was outrageous. Schiff was big on doing that, by the way. Adam Schiff. So we have filed a Freedom of Information Act lawsuit just recently against the Department of Homeland Security for all records of communications tied to this, what I believe to be a nefarious entity called the Election Integrity Partnership. It's the anti-election integrity partnership, as best as I can tell. And we ask for all emails, direct messages, task management alerts, or other records of communication related to the work of the Election Integrity Partnership sent via the Atlassian Jira, J-I-R-A, platform between any official or employee of the Cyber and Information Security Agency and any member, officer, employee, or representative of any of the following. And so this is the front on the outside that we're helping censor Americans. The Election Integrity Partnership, the University of Washington Center for an Informed Public, Stanford University's Internet Observatory, the Center for Internet Security, the Elections Infrastructure Information Sharing and Analysis Center, the National Association of Secretaries of State, the National Association of State Election Directors, Graphica, the Atlantic Council's Digital Digital Forensics Research Laboratory, and any social media company. All memos of understanding, guidelines, or similar records related to the Cybersecurity and Information Security Agency's use of this computer platform for work related to the Election Integrity Partnership. So this Election Integrity Partnership essentially was a collaboration between these government entities and big tech and these left-wing allies on the outside, like the Center for an Informed Public and the University of Washington, the Stanford University's Internet Observatory, etc., to censor Americans. And they did it through this Jira platform. I may be mispronouncing it, but it's J-I-R-A. And Jira is a software application developed by an Australian company which helps teams plan, assign, track, and report and manage work. It brings teams together for everything from agile software development, customer support, startup, and enterprises. So by teams, substitute, when it comes to suppressing your First Amendment rights, co-conspirators. And so what we're looking for is information about the conspiracy between the Biden administration and, frankly, the deep state under the Trump administration and these outside entities using this specific computer system to censor you. That's how they did it. You know, we've been looking and researching this issue extraordinarily carefully, our investigators and our lawyers. There have been some public information about this as a result of the Twitter files, and Judicial Watch is not slowing down. And we've filed additional lawsuits to uncover the details of this censorship. And it's not because, unlike Russiagate, because I think Russiagate's still continuing, meaning the abuse of Trump by the Justice Department and the FBI. See the indictment. The censorship of Americans hasn't stopped. At Twitter, it's been dialed back significantly by Elon Musk, and they're trying to destroy him as a result. Facebook, it continues. YouTube, it continues. Google, it continues. Google owns YouTube. Instagram, which is owned by Facebook, it continues. And they all have parent companies. Meta is Facebook and Instagram. Alphabet is Google and YouTube. And then you've got companies like LinkedIn and companies like that that also casually censor Americans for being on the wrong side of issues. And as we get closer to the election, there's going to be more election censorship. And it's going to be at the behest of the Biden administration. And we need to shut it down. And one way you shut it down is by exposing what's going on. And that's what we're doing with this lawsuit. Based on representations from the Election Integrity Partnership, the federal government, social media companies, the Center for Internet Security, which is also funded partly by the DHS and the Defense Department, they communicated privately on this platform, this sophisticated computer program that I shared with you about. They stated the EIP, this is what the Election Integrity Project describes itself as doing. The EIP's core conveners are the Stanford Internet Observatory and the University of Washington Center for an Informed Public. We work in collaboration with some of the nation's leading institutions focused on analysis of online harms, including the National Conference on Citizenship, Graphica, and the Digital Forensic Research Lab, which I think is a left-wing group out in, I think that's in the UK. To be blunt, the Biden Department of Homeland Security is unlawfully hiding evidence of their election interference and censorship of Americans. That's what's happening right now. This is why we're in court. We asked for the documents and they refused to give them to us, contrary to law. So now there's lawlessness on top of the lawlessness of secrecy on top of the lawlessness of election interference and censorship. And as I said, we have all sorts of other litigation. We sued in January of this year the Justice Department for their communications between the Federal Bureau of Investigation and social media sites, because the FBI is pushing this censorship as well, in addition to helping Hunter hide gun information, it looks like. In September, we sued the Secretary of State of California, as I said, for having a YouTube video of Judicial Watch taken down. That's going to be on appeal now. And we published documents revealing how, the way we got into that lawsuit, we found out how California Secretary of State officials, were working, it looks like, with the Biden campaign's PR firm. Oh, but it's not the Biden campaign, it's just their PR firm, to censor Americans complaining about election law issues. So there's a lot going on. Judicial Watch has at least a half a dozen lawsuits on this, including a substantial one directly against, related to the violations of our civil rights against the state of California. And we're pressuring through litigation for the full truth on the Biden administration's continuing censorship of American citizens on election issues. And, by the way, on COVID issues and other issues where we've found that they're working hand in glove to continue to censor Americans as it relates to vaccines and criticism of COVID policies. I mean, for instance, did you see that Robert F. Kennedy's Jr., he's now a candidate for president, they took down a video of his from YouTube because it supposedly had vaccine misinformation. I hate to use the word misinformation because it's a made-up word by the left, and I'm not even sure what it means. Now, I know technically what they think it means, but it's really just another excuse for saying, I don't agree with that, or I dispute it, therefore let's come up with a new word to make it seem like a bad thing in order to justify censorship. And that's why they say the word misinformation and disinformation. It's things other people say that you want to censor. Now, I guess, you know, as a citizen, you may say, I don't want to see that. I want to censor it. But if you do it through the government, and you do it through improper pressure of corporations, or corporations do it through illicit business practices and an illegal collusion with the government, then it's illegal. And the First Amendment is under attack in a way it's never been under attack in modern American history through this ongoing censorship. And Judicial Watch is deploying, I think, significant resources to do so. And with your support, we will do even more. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like our video down below.